What if your life was shaped by a decision made centuries before you were born? What if your family's pain and strength was carried through time in blood and memory? This is the story of Homegoing by GYASI, a novel that begins with two sisters and unfolds into a sweeping, unforgettable portrait of African and African American history. Welcome to this deep dive summary and reflection on one of the most powerful novels of the 21st century. From this moment, Homegoing follows their bloodlines over 300 years, from tribal wars in Ghana to Harlem during the Civil Rights Movement, and finally to modern-day America. Published in 2016, Homegoing is YAA debut novel. It starts in 18th century Ghana, at the height of the transatlantic slave trade. Two half-sisters, Effia and Essie, are born in different villages. They never meet, but their lives, and the lives of their descendants, are forever changed by forces beyond their control. Effia is married off to a British colonizer and lives in comfort above the dungeons of Cape Coast Castle. Essie is captured and imprisoned in those same dungeons, then sold into slavery and sent to America. Let's start with Effia. Her son Quay is the product of her marriage to the British governor. He is caught between two worlds, Ghanaian royalty and European power. When he returns to Ghana as a young man, he struggles to find his place, eventually marrying an Asante woman to secure political alliances. Their son James rejects the slave trade altogether, choosing to abandon his status and flee his expected life. We follow this line through James's daughter, Abina, who leaves her village pregnant, seeking a better future. Then to Akua, Abina's daughter, haunted by dreams of fire and ancestral pain. Akua, in a moment of madness, sets a fire that kills her daughters and scars her son. YAA, marked physically and emotionally, becomes a school teacher. He tries to process the pain of his past, eventually marrying Esther and raising their daughter Marjorie, who is born in America but deeply connected to her Ghanaian roots. Marjorie becomes a bridge, a symbol of the journey from Africa to America and the complexity of belonging to both. Now, Essie. She survives the brutal Middle Passage and is sold into slavery in the American South. Her daughter, Ness, is born on a plantation and tries to escape with her child. But only Ness survives. That child, Kojo, grows up free in Baltimore. He lives a relatively peaceful life until the Fugitive Slave Act shatters his safety, proving that in America, freedom is never secure for Black people. Kojo's son, H, is imprisoned after the Civil War and forced to work in coal mines under the convict leasing system, another name for slavery. H's daughter, Willie, moves to Harlem with dreams of music and a better life. But her world falls apart when her husband leaves and racism closes doors all around her. Willie's son, Sonny, becomes a passionate voice in the civil rights movement, but also struggles with addiction, identity, and the emotional toll of a life lived in resistance. Finally, we meet Marcus, Sonny's son, a Stanford graduate student. Marcus is trying to make sense of his family's pain. He studies the legacy of slavery, trying to find patterns, trying to heal, and through Marjorie, Effia's descendant, his family's two branches are finally reunited. Homegoing is a novel about lineage, but it's also about the weight of history. One of the central themes is intergenerational trauma, how pain is passed down not just in memory, but in behavior, silence, and scars. Each chapter is a link in a long chain of suffering and survival. Another powerful theme is identity. Whether in Ghana or the U.S., characters struggle to understand who they are in a world shaped by colonization, racism, and erasure. YAA also uses symbols to deepen the emotional impact. Fire represents destruction, but also rebirth. Water, especially the Atlantic Ocean, divides the family but also binds their stories. The structure of Homegoing is unique. 14 chapters, 14 characters, each one a descendant of either Ephia or Isi. At first, it's jarring. Just as you start to connect with a character, the story jumps ahead to the next generation. But that's the point. The novel doesn't ask us to cling to one person. It asks us to see the bigger picture, the tapestry of history woven from many lives. In the final chapter, Marcus walks with Marjorie on a beach in Ghana, two descendants of sisters who never met, now standing on the same shore, searching for answers in the waves. It's a quiet moment, no dramatic ending, just the possibility of healing, of remembering, of going home. Homegoing is more than a novel. It's a meditation on history, ancestry, and what it means to belong to something bigger than yourself. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend it. It will move you, challenge you, and most importantly, it will stay with you. Thanks for listening.